In just 70 years, a small nomadic tribe transformed into a powerful empire, controlling vast territories in East Asia. The Kitans, originally a collection of loosely connected tribes, were known for their resilience and adaptability. They lived in the harsh environments of the Mongolian steppes, where survival required not just strength but also cunning and cooperation. The Kitan Empire, founded in 907 AD, stretched from present-day Mongolia to parts of northern China, reaching over 1 million square kilometers at its peak. This vast expanse of land was not just a testament to their military prowess, but also to their strategic acumen in governance and diplomacy. It boasted a population exceeding 1.5 million. The cities within the empire were bustling centers of trade and culture, where merchants from distant lands would gather, bringing with them goods, ideas, and innovations. The empire's unique dual cultural system blended Chinese and nomadic traditions, allowing it to thrive for decades. This fusion created a rich tapestry of cultural practices, where the nomadic lifestyle of the steppes met the sophisticated traditions of Chinese civilization. However, by 1125 AD, internal strife and external pressures led to its downfall. The empire, once a beacon of strength and unity, began to fracture under the weight of its own success. Rival factions within the ruling elite vied for power, while external enemies sensed an opportunity to strike. In a mere 20 years, the once mighty power faded, demonstrating how quickly empires can rise and fall. The remnants of the Kitan Empire serve as a poignant reminder of the transient nature of power and the relentless march of history. Imagine the vast steppes of Mongolia, wind whipping across the grasslands, home to fierce warriors and nomadic tribes. These lands, with their endless horizons and rugged beauty, were the cradle of the Kitan people. This was the world of the Kitans, a people who for centuries lived in the shadow of powerful Chinese dynasties. Despite their proximity to these great powers, the Kitans maintained their distinct identity and way of life, always ready to defend their freedom and autonomy. But the Kitans were not destined to remain in the shadows. Their determination and ambition drove them to seek greater heights, to carve out a place for themselves on the world stage. Driven by ambition and a thirst for power, they embarked on a campaign of conquest that would reshape the map of East Asia. Their military campaigns were meticulously planned and executed with precision, showcasing their strategic brilliance. Their rise was swift and brutal. The Kitan cavalry, known for their speed and ferocity, became a symbol of their unstoppable advance. They struck fear into the hearts of their enemies, leaving a trail of conquered territories in their wake. Under the leadership of Abaoji, a brilliant strategist and cunning leader, the Kitans unified disparate tribes through a combination of military might and shrewd diplomacy. Abaoji's vision extended beyond mere conquest. He sought to build a lasting legacy for his people. Abaoji understood that to challenge the might of the Chinese Empire, he needed a united front. He forged alliances, negotiated treaties, and brought together the various tribes under a single banner, creating a cohesive and formidable force. Year after year, the Kitans pushed outward, their cavalry sweeping across the plains, their archers raining arrows down on their enemies. Their relentless expansion was driven by a desire to secure their borders and ensure the prosperity of their people. Victories mounted, and with each conquest, the Kitan Empire grew stronger, its borders expanding, its treasury overflowing with the spoils of war. The wealth accumulated from their conquests allowed them to build magnificent cities and support a thriving economy. The once disparate tribes, now forged into a single, formidable force, had announced their arrival on the world stage. The Kitans had proven that they were a force to be reckoned with, capable of shaping the course of history. The Kitan Empire was born. This new empire, built on the foundations of unity, strength, and strategic brilliance, would leave an indelible mark on the annals of history. The success of any empire hinges on the vision and strength of its leaders, who must navigate the complexities of governance, warfare, and diplomacy. The Kitan Empire was no exception to this rule. Its rise and fall were deeply intertwined with the capabilities and decisions of its rulers. Abaoji, the founder, laid the foundation with his military genius and political acumen. His strategic mind and ability to inspire loyalty among his troops were crucial in establishing the empire. He understood that to rule such a diverse empire required more than brute force. It demanded a delicate balancing act. Abaoji was adept at forging alliances and understanding the cultural nuances of the various peoples within his realm. Abaoji's successors inherited this complex legacy. They faced the challenge of maintaining the unity and strength of the empire while also dealing with their own ambitions and the ever-changing political landscape. Some, like Emperor Taizong, continued his expansionist policies, pushing the empire to its territorial zenith. Taizong's campaigns extended the empire's borders and brought new wealth and resources. These leaders understood the language of power, the importance of projecting strength to both potential rivals and those who might challenge their authority. They knew that a show of force could deter enemies and maintain internal order. Others focused on consolidating power, strengthening the empire's infrastructure, and refining its administrative systems. They recognized that a well-organized government and efficient bureaucracy were essential for long-term stability. These leaders recognized that true power lay not just in conquest, but in creating a stable and prosperous society that could withstand the test of time. They invested in agriculture, trade, and public works to ensure the well-being of their subjects. They invested in roads, canals, and trade routes, connecting the far-flung corners of their realm and fostering economic prosperity. These projects facilitated the movement of goods and people, enhancing the empire's cohesion. However, not all Kitan rulers were as adept at navigating the complexities of empire. Some struggled with the immense responsibilities and pressures of leadership, leading to periods of mismanagement and decline. As decades passed, internal power struggles and court intrigues began to plague the Kitan court. Ambitious nobles and officials vied for influence, often undermining the stability of the empire. The once united front began to show cracks, as ambition and personal agendas took precedence over the good of the empire. These internal conflicts weakened the Kitan Empire, making it vulnerable to external threats and eventual downfall. One of the most fascinating aspects of the Kitan Empire was its unique approach to governance, a dual cultural system that blended Chinese administrative practices with traditional nomadic customs. This innovative system was not just a mere amalgamation of two different cultures, but a sophisticated balancing act that required careful management and strategic foresight. The Kitans, known for their adaptability and pragmatism, were able to create a governance model that allowed them to harness the strengths of both cultures. This system, a testament to the Kitans' pragmatism, was key to their success, allowing them to maintain control over a diverse population spread across a vast geographical area. The Kitan Empire spanned a variety of terrains and included numerous ethnic groups, each with its own customs and traditions. By integrating Chinese administrative techniques, the Kitans were able to effectively manage these diverse regions, ensuring stability and order. Recognizing the sophistication of the Chinese bureaucratic system, the Kitans adopted elements of it to manage their newly acquired territories in southern China. They understood that the Chinese had developed an efficient and effective way of governing large populations and vast territories, and they sought to leverage this knowledge to their advantage. This included the adoption of Chinese-style bureaucracy, which was instrumental in maintaining control over their expansive empire. They implemented tax collection, established legal codes, and appointed officials, many of them ethnic Chinese, to oversee local administration. These measures helped to ensure that the empire's resources were efficiently managed, and that laws were uniformly enforced across different regions. The use of Chinese officials also helped to bridge the cultural gap between the Kitans and their Chinese subjects, fostering a sense of cooperation and mutual respect. However, the Kitans were also keenly aware of their own nomadic roots and the importance of preserving their cultural identity. They took great care to maintain their traditional customs and practices, which were deeply ingrained in their way of life. This included their language, social structures, and cultural rituals, which they continued to observe within their own communities. They continued to observe their traditional customs, language, and social structures within their own ranks. The Kitans placed a strong emphasis on their heritage, ensuring that their cultural identity remained intact despite the influences of Chinese culture. This duality allowed them to navigate the complexities of ruling a multi-ethnic empire while staying true to their roots. They maintained their cavalry-based military organization, a stark contrast to the infantry-heavy armies of the Chinese dynasties. The Kitan cavalry was renowned for its mobility and effectiveness in battle, and it remained a key component of their military strategy. This reliance on cavalry not only reflected their nomadic heritage, but also provided them with a tactical advantage in warfare. This dual cultural system, however, was not without its challenges. the integration of two distinct cultures required constant effort and vigilance. The Khitans had to navigate the complexities of cultural integration, ensuring that both Chinese and Khitan traditions were respected and upheld. This delicate balance was essential for maintaining harmony within the empire. Maintaining this delicate balance required constant vigilance, and as time passed, tensions between the two cultures began to surface. The Khitans had to be ever watchful to prevent these tensions from escalating into conflict. This often involved making difficult decisions and compromises to keep the peace and ensure the stability of their empire. The adoption of Chinese customs by the Khitan elite was seen by some as a betrayal of their nomadic heritage, sowing the seeds of discontent. This discontent was particularly pronounced among the more traditionalist factions within the Khitan society, who felt that their way of life was being eroded. The Khitans' ability to manage these internal conflicts was crucial to the longevity of their empire, highlighting the complexities and challenges of their dual cultural system. The Kitan Empire, despite its outward strength, was not immune to the internal pressures that plague all empires. Over time, the cracks in the foundation began to widen, threatening the very fabric of the empire. One of the most significant sources of internal strife stemmed from the inherent tension between the nomadic Khitan elite and the increasingly influential Chinese bureaucracy. As the empire prospered, the Khitan rulers came to rely more heavily on Chinese officials to manage the intricate workings of their vast domain. This reliance, however, bred resentment among some within the Khitan aristocracy, who viewed the growing influence of the Chinese bureaucracy as a threat to their own power and status. Adding to the instability were the age-old problems of succession. The Kitan Empire lacked a clear line of hereditary succession, leading to frequent power struggles and coups. Ambitious princes vying for the throne often resorted to violence, plunging the empire into periods of chaos and uncertainty. These internal conflicts weakened the empire from within, diverting resources from external threats and undermining the Khitan's ability to present a united front to their enemies. The seeds of discord, sown over decades, were beginning to bear bitter fruit.